Good morning, 8th grade. Mr. Hale here. Today, we are going to go over our final lesson for this unit, the surface area of spheres. Now, if you think back to when we talked about circles, the formula for the area of a circle, a formula that you should probably have memorized before you go into high school, is pi r squared. That's the formula for just a flat circle. The formula for the surface area of a sphere is related to that formula because, as I mentioned yesterday, in a lot of ways you can think of a sphere as a three-dimensional circle. Their definitions are very similar. It is all of the points a certain distance from a defined center. A circle is all the points a certain distance away from a defined center on a flat plane, whereas a sphere is all of the points a certain distance from a defined center in a three-dimensional space. So there's a good reason that their formulas should be related, since they're kind of the same thing. And they're related very simply. Once you guys get into calculus in high school, the reason that this happens will become more apparent, but for now, just trust me, that the formula for the surface area of the sphere is just the formula for the area of a circle multiplied by 4. So, just like yesterday with the volume, the only thing we need to know about the sphere in order to do our surface area calculation is the radius. If we know the radius of the sphere, we just plug it into the formula, then our work is done. So let's start off with number 3 as our example. You'll notice in number 3 that I've given you the diameter, the distance all the way across. We do not need the diameter to find the surface area. We need the radius, which is going to be half of the diameter, the distance from the middle to the edge. So our radius, if this diameter, that's supposed to be a d, is 15.6, then our radius is going to be half of that, which is 7.8. Okay, once we know our radius, it's just a matter of plugging in to this formula. So we write a 4 times pi times, and then the radius squared. So we know that our radius is 7.8. We're going to take that to the second power. Okay, now that we know that, we can just plug that into our calculator. 4 multiplied by, and if you remember from yesterday, you can use either 3.14, or if your calculator has it, you can use the pi button. Both will work. And then we're going to multiply that by the radius, 7.8 squared. And that gives us a total of 764.1504. However, because this is a calculation involving pi, I'm going to give an approximate answer here of 764. And depending on what version of pi you use, you might get a slightly different answer. In fact, let's redo the calculation and see what happens if we use the pi button instead of 3.14. So 4 times the pi button times 7.8 squared, we get 764.5. So the difference is 764.5 versus 764.1. Both are reasonably close to each other, so we can just say our answer is something around 764 inches squared. Remember, surface area is always squared. Okay, let's look at number 5. We have a 21.6 centimeter diameter. Again, look at the drawing. This line goes all the way across. So we need the radius, which is going to be half that, from the center to the edge, what is 21.6 divided by 2? I actually don't know that off the top of my head because I have not had my coffee yet this morning. 10.8, that sounds right. So we know that our radius is going to be 10.8. Okay, so let's plug that into our formula. 4 multiplied by pi multiplied by 10.8 squared. Pull up our calculator. 4 multiplied by pi multiplied by 10.8 squared. And that is 1,465, or thereabouts, depending on which version of pi you use. And this is in centimeters, and since it's surface area, squared. All right, one more example. This time we are given the true radius, 9.6, so we can just jump straight to the formula. 4 times pi times 9.6 squared. Pull up our calculator. 4 times pi times 9.6 squared. 1,158 inches squared. So there is our lesson on surface area of a sphere. All you need to do is multiply 4 times pi times the radius squared. And that'll be our last lesson for this unit. Do your best, stay home, wash your hands, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.